Hey folks, Twisha Christian here. Today I'm going to give you guys an update on Zion Oil and Gas. Now they came out with an update several days ago, and I'm going to go ahead and go over that update. But just to let you guys know, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just giving you my opinion on this stock or any other stocks or on the economy or whatever. So I'm not telling you to go out and buy the stock. A lot of you that listen to me already have the stock already. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. Zion Oil and Gas closed out at 26 cents today. And one of the things that I told you guys on the last two updates that I did on Zion Oil and Gas, I said if this trend continues and we don't get any positive news, you're going to see the stock continue to go down. And it closed out at 26 cents. So it's very possible that if you don't hear anything next week, you will see a continued trend to slide down. So it may be an opportunity to get in. A lot of people, you couldn't get in or you didn't want to get in at that price pretty soon here. You may very well by the end of next week or even 2 weeks, if we don't hear any positive news, it actually might in the next 2 weeks, we could actually see this thing actually go down to maybe 13 cents, maybe 10 cents. Just my opinion, doesn't say it's going to happen, but there is a downtrend that is happening right now with Zion Oil because we just don't have any positive news. There's been some delays. Okay, so for those of you who don't know about Zion Oil and Gas, it's an oil company that is drilling for oil in Israel. Israel is trying to become more energy independent, and so this is one of the companies that it's actually drilling, and we've been in this for a long time, and we know that there is oil there in their permit area. It's just a matter of drilling and getting to it. All right, so on May the 12th, we got a pretty good update. Everything was on time. Then on May 19th, which this is the update update after the drilling plan was supposed to be completed. So here in this one, it just talks about they're in their third stage of the well, and that they were actually drilling pretty fast, right? And that was on May 19th. Now, their 5-month drilling plan was supposed to end on the week of June the 6th. So we assumed, because of this particular update, that they were actually on track to finish out in the month of June. So the month of June went by, and then almost all of the month of July went by. And we received an update talking about recent operational work has been challenging. Our geologists and engineers are continuing to put in exceptional time and effort in overcoming unique obstacles. Our operational team encountered significant difficulties to keep proper stability with a shale formation during recent drilling. Now we have moved forward with addressing drilling parameters that enable us to keep shale oil integrity as we move toward our zones of interest. The shale integrity, I think it might have to do something with the well too as well, that it's not leaking and that they don't lose the well altogether. So it depending on how bad it was, it's very well that they could have some problems with the well. They had to make sure that the well was going to bust or break or whatever the case. So that was on July 26th. So here we are, August 23rd. This is their latest update. And it says here, we know many of you look forward to each new update on the MJ02 well project with eager anticipation as you walk alongside us in this journey. There have been hurdles along the way, including increased COVID-related delays and interruptions to operations while we awaited specifically ordered components needed for our modified drill plan. But we can thankfully confirm drilling is now proceeding effectively on all fronts of our updated plan. We face no serious security concerns to date despite continuing unrest in the region. Our crews remain both safe and unhindered in their exceptional work. Okay, so I got several things out of this. The first one is that they had to stop drilling. Then they had to order parts. And then now they have resumed drilling. Now, by the time this came out on August 23rd, they may have resumed 3 days before then. So who knows? But so there obviously was the delay If you had to order parts, they have to go through the ports and they have to get approval and, all these other things because of the lockdowns. And then they also talked about they didn't face any serious security concerns. So they didn't face any serious security concerns. They could have faced some concerns. We've talked about this on this channel about maybe the field might be a target just because, if this ever was to take place, it's going to shake the region as far as Israel becoming more energy independent and also becoming an exporter in that region. That's huge. If Zion Oil is able to be successful in this drill, it's going to change the region, in my opinion. A lot of the countries in the Middle East, a lot of the leaders aren't going to be happy if Israel announces that they have a lot more oil, they have access to a lot more oil, and are going to be in a different position. That's going to change a lot of things. So there is a security concern with that, but they said there is none. There's no serious security concerns up to this date, which is a good thing. So, we just keep them up in prayer and that they reach their goal here soon. Now, one of the things is people have said that maybe they're waiting for Rosh Hashanah that starts on September the 6th through the 8th, and maybe they'll make an announcement then. Of course, that would be nice. That is that is about a week and a half away. So maybe there's a possibility, but looking at this update, I don't know, folks. I mean, this thing, we don't know what their updated drill plan is. And they didn't announce what it was. They didn't share it in any kind of way, what that plan was. All right, folks. So one of the things that I want to share with you, and one of the reasons why the stock will continue to go down, and it's because of the short interest. As we have discussed, the corruption that's been brought out with AMC and GameStop and all that, and how the shorts and the hedge funds have been shorting stocks, creating synthetic shares, fails to deliver. All those things affect a price stock. And I've shared in a video exactly what the hedge funds did to Zion Oil and how they hurt Zion Oil. And it's all done on purpose because they are doing this to a lot of stocks in the stock market, regardless if the company is good or bad. It actually takes away, even if a company is doing good and they're purposely shorting it and purposely causing it to come down, that means that affects your money, the stocks that you're invested in, your 401ks and everything else. But looking at this, it says here the current short volume today was 35,700. The previous was 28,500, an increase of 25%. Right? So with the stock price coming down, the shorts are making money. So that's one of the things is if without getting any positive news, short sellers are going to make money. They've been making money off the stock since the beginning. Now, one of the other things that I do want to share with you about fails to deliver, folks. Now, fails to deliver was a lot worse in 2019 and 2020 and going into 2021 because they were doing an illegal practice. And we're just waiting for the SEC to actually start enforcing the rules. And, people should be going to jail over some of this stuff. But it fails to deliver when you go back and you start looking at all the fails to deliver. Right, and this one here is July 30th. 250 shares failed to deliver at 34 cents. That means they placed a short, and for however they get out of actually covering for that, it becomes a fail to deliver. Or whoever owned those short positions, they didn't pay up. That's the best way to put it. And you look back and you look. Okay, so like over here since June, you see several thousand, 15,000 here on the 21st at 35 cents. You don't really think of it. Okay, well, that's not really a lot. All right, 15,812 times 35 cents. Okay, that's $5,534. That should have been put back into the Zion Oil stock, if you understand what I mean. Okay, no, is it really that bad? Right? But when you start to go back, and you go back into history, And this is just the recent history, right? 3,986,270 at 59 cents. This is where a lot of the fails to deliver started to happen back in June. Do you remember when it went up? At 59 cents. Let's add that up. $2,351,000,000, folks. So, and you look at that. You look at all the different prices and all the millions of dollars that should have been put back into Zion Oil because they failed to cover their positions. So it turns into a fail to deliver, right? And then they have like another 30 more days to cover. But with all the corruption that's been exposed, all they can just keep putting it off and keep putting it off and keep putting it off until they get it down to a price that where they can make money or cover without losing anything or just losing a little. That's very important. This has been going on, and of course this website is only going to show me so much, but folks, this is all throughout the last year and a half, millions of fails to deliver. And that's one of the things that kind of got to me was, why aren't these CEOs of these companies complaining to the SEC about fails to deliver? They just kind of accepted the fact that this happens. And that's not right. And it doesn't matter if it's Zion Oil or if it's AMC or if it's, any other company. They should be complaining this should not be going on, because it is almost like it's investing, but in a reverse way. And so if you put yourself into a short position and you lose, you should cover. But that's not what's happening. They just keep putting it off and putting it off until it either goes down in price, right? Or they just wait long enough to where they'll break even or just lose a little bit of money. And that's huge, folks, on a daily basis. And this is happening with every stock I have mentioned, HCMC, HPNN, millions and millions, hundreds of millions of stocks, especially penny stocks, they get into the hundreds of millions of fails to deliver. And that's pretty huge. And that has had a profound effect on the whole entire stock market. Really, technically, if you were to eliminate shorting and fails to deliver, if you were able to curb that, the stock market would probably be a lot higher than what it is. And actually, I'm really surprised that all this stuff didn't come out, before during the previous administration, and why this wasn't really dealt with. But so, and just looking again at the Zion Oil and Gas, just looking at the volume and how much the percentage that it's being shorted, and they probably are going to pile in. But at the same time, on September 1st, I guess there's some new rules that are coming out, and all these other rules are changing liquidity requirements. So you may not see a lot. You may not see as much shorting like you see here. You see how it dramatically dropped, right? So did they just stop shorting, or is this the SEC cracking down, and maybe some of these hedge funds that are involved in this? But eventually, all these positions have to cover. They have to cover. So they can't keep it on forever. And with these new rules, hopefully it'll be quick. So that's why I think we could see not just Zion Oil, but a lot of it. Think about it, folks. If the SEC actually does what they're supposed to do, and all these new rules that are coming into effect and that are in effect, and they actually enforce these rules, and all these people, all these hedge funds have to start covering on their short positions. Could you imagine that happening around the same time as Zion Oil announces that they've drilled and they got oil, and they're give us all the stats of how much oil they can pump out and all that? That could really, really hurt the shorts. So I just wanted to present that to you because it's in all the stock market, and it seems like some of the shorts are starting to come back in. So hopefully within a couple weeks, maybe we'll know something, folks. And just to kind of briefly go over my pricing points and what I might think could happen, I still think that off of a first announcement, we can see the stock actually go up to around $5 a share. But I actually see it coming down too as well, because they're going to need money to go into the next operation, right? To go into the next phase. So, and I've shared that in past videos, how much it costs per month to keep the drilling operations going and all that. But I do think that in the long term, folks, this stock will be huge down the road in the future. In the immediate future here, within the next month or two, and also years to come. So I have discussed what my plan will be, and to keep invested in the Zion oil. For those of you who are just holding on and waiting for the price to go up to that one time where it does reach that $5. There's a lot of folks out there they're going to hold on until the stock is at $20 or $50. I don't think the stock could reach $50 just off of one well. Anything is possible. But for those of you who are holding on, and you're holding on till when it does reach, you guys are going to be holding for a while. It's going to take it's going to take several wells, more than likely, to get to that point to where the stock is trading at $50 a share. But when it does happen, when the first well is activated and it's going, and they continue to drill and drill and drill, it's just going to keep going up as time goes on. Now, I know that some people still have their shares like on Robinhood or Webull, and you haven't sold yet. And that's one of the things that I told you guys that I did. I set in my stop loss, and it sold off. And then when it went down and I felt comfortable at a price, I bought back in. And so some of you are still, like I just had somebody tell me that they still have their shares on Robinhood, and I think eToro. And so you guys have not sold it yet, so you guys are waiting. If I was in that position, you have two choices. One, you could go ahead and sell it as it is now, right? And wait for all the money to come into your account and settle, and then transfer that money to another trading platform like Charles Schwab. Like I could buy Zion Oil and Gas on Charles Schwab without any extra additional fees. That whole entire process is going to take about 2 weeks before you can use those funds to buy Zion Oil. And unless you already got money in your Charles Schwab account. Now you can buy it on TD Ameritrade, but there's every time you make a purchase, there's a one-time charge of like $6.50. And so looking at Zion Oil's drilling plan and not knowing when when they're going to be done or when they're going to make their announcement, it could be a whole nother month. And that would give you time to get everything transferred over, all those funds transferred over, knowing that if we're not going to receive any good news in the next couple of weeks, that the price of the stock very well could go down. So that's one thing. That's one option that you have. Now, if you already have money in the bank, say for instance you have $3,000 of Zion Oil and Gas, right, and you want to transfer it, maybe you have $3,000 in your account. So you can just go ahead and put the money in your Charles Schwab account, because they're going to put a 5 or 6 day hold. They're going to put at least a 5-day hold on that money before you can buy an OTC stock. So you can take a chance. There's always that fear like, oh, Zion Oil might make that announcement in the next couple weeks, and it would be right as I'm transferring everything. With us being where we're at right now, I don't know, folks. We could have a whole nother month before we hear any positive news. Now, the other option is that when Zion Oil does make that announcement, right, you're going to see the stock go up. And let's say it does reach $5, right? If it was me and I saw it getting ready to hit $5, I might sell at $4.78 or $4.95 or $5. Even though it could go up to $6, but you got out at a safe place, because I know, folks, that's going to go back down. Once you have sold, say it reaches $5 and you've sold, I'm not really expecting any more news that's going to pump it up more than $5. I don't see that, because they're going to have to sell stock to raise money to move on to the next phase. So I see that happening too as well. And so that is going to bring down the price because that's one of the ways that they raise funds. And so after I, sell off my Robinhood or eToro, and I've sold it at, an average of $4.75, all of the stocks. And then I just, wait for the accounts to settle, transfer the funds to my bank, then once those funds are transferred, then I'll transfer them to, my Charles Schwab account. That's what I would do. And so the other thing that I would do is if you still have those shares on there, we'll just wait for this price to come down and invest more if you can. Because you can sell off your stock at 26 cents. And if it does go down to 13 cents, guess what? You can buy twice as many as you had before. But in order to do that, you're going to have to make sure that you are watching the stock and you're waiting for that opportunity and put in your buy orders and all that. So anyways, folks, I just want to give you that quick update. We just keep, Zion Oil and the workers up in prayer. And we pray that within this next month that we will hear something positive. And when it does, the stock will skyrocket. So anyways, folks, I thank you for listening. God bless. And with that being said, Tosha Christian out.